The second unit is approaches to scientific knowledge, positivism and post-positivism. Unit 3 is models of scientific explanation. Unit 4 is debates on models of explanation in economics. And Unit 5 is foundations of qualitative research, interpretativism and critical theory paradigm. So today we shall discuss only Unit 1. I think I have been given only 6 classes to discuss this, to complete this block 1. And today we shall discuss Unit 1. Have you gone through this unit? Have you? Anybody
No,
else?
sir. No, sir.
Why you have not gone through this unit?
No, sir.
Okay. So this first unit actually this is mainly on the fundamentals of research methodology, or you can say this is the conceptual foundation of research methodology. So first of all, can you tell me or let us discuss uh, what do you mean by research? What is research actually? And why research has been given so much of importance in modern days? So what is
Sir,
the
in
role
one
of
word, we can say research means investigation.
okay? So research actually plays a significant role in human progress nowadays, and also it inculcates scientific temper and logical thinking. That means if you define research in a single sentence, then you can say research refers to scientific and systematic inquiry aiming either to discover new facts or to verify the old facts. Research does not mean only to discover new facts. You may also uh, take up research work to verify the old facts also. So research plays a vital role in the modern society, not only in science, it also in social sciences, in other fields also, in industry and in different spheres also. Research work is being taken by, and there is every industry and every organization, there is a research cell. Research cells means that to go on searching things, to find out new things, because you know knowledge has no boundary line. So if you go on taking up research work, definitely you will move ahead or you will find out new, suppose in industry also. Suppose the cost of production goes on increasing, or suppose why the products of that industries are not sold in the market as it was being done earlier. Then you have to find the research of what is the reason for that. So you have to analyze different factors which are responsible for increasing the cost of production. Or if you have to find out certain or analyze certain factors which are responsible for lowering down the demand of the products. So in every sphere, in every field, in industry, in social sciences, so previously what has been done? Research means scientific experiments were being done only within the four walls. By taking certain instruments, suppose in science you can find that the research is done in chemistry, in physics, that is being done within by giving some inputs and also studying its effect, and then you can find out what it happens. But nowadays in social sciences also, in society, in take for example in rural development, in exports imports, in so many things, in international trade, in social science, in sociology, in anthropology, in different uh, subjects also, research is being taken up. So you should remember, so research is a scientific and systematic inquiry. Scientific and systematic, you cannot do research work haphazardly. Haphazardly you cannot do. You have to follow the process. That is the research process. We shall come after certain after some time we will come across that research process. What is that research process? So first of all, please remember the research refers to a scientific and systematic inquiry aiming either to discover new facts or to verify the old facts. So that is what we call research. And second thing is that in the modern society, research plays a significant role in human progress. If you want to develop, if you want to go ahead, if you want to develop in scientific, in science or in other spheres, then you have to undertake research work. So research plays a vital or significant role in the modern day society or in human progress. So second is, what is research methodology? What is the research methodology? Actually, the theoretical perspectives, the theoretical knowledge, the theoretical idea, or the knowledge within which you will work, and the tools and techniques of data collection and methods of data analysis together constitute the research methodology. So research methodology is a broad concept. So under research methodology comes your theoretical perspectives, your theoretical knowledge, or your theoretical ideas. Then second, basing on your theoretical knowledge or theoretical ideas, you have to go for collecting data, data collection. How can you undertake research without data collection, without taking the mm, uh, happenings, what happens actually? Then you have to collect data. And there are certain techniques of data collection. The persons, those who collect data, definitely must have to follow certain techniques, guidelines, and also there are some tools of data collection. How can you collect data? What are the tools? That we shall discuss later on. Then methods of data analysis. After collecting data, we have to analyze that data in order to find out the result. That we shall come one by one. The after collection, there is a classification or analysis or your tabulation. Then we will find out the inference or the result. So techniques of data collection, methods of data analysis together constitute the research methodology. So remember, research methodology is a broad concept which comprises of the theoretical knowledge or theoretical perspectives, tools and techniques of data collection. What are the tools of data collection and what is the technique which you have to follow while collecting data? And the methods of data collection. There are different ways, there are different methods of data collection. Suppose take for example, when you are undertaking a survey, so suppose you are going to study the standard of living of the people of a particular area, of a particular block, then you have to go from, or you have to collect data that is called primary data. What is primary data? Primary is the data that is called your first-hand information. You are going directly to the person concerned and asking the question, and you are getting the answer. That is called the primary data collection. Then that is the first-hand information. And the second thing is that the data which have been already collected by some agencies, by some bodies, or by some government, that is called secondary data. Secondary data, take for example, suppose you are undertaking research work on the export and import of India since 1970 or 80. So you have to take the data which have already been collected, you have to refer to the journals, magazines, or the government bulletins, so many things, RBI bulletins, or so many things you have to take. So this is called secondary data collection. So this is called, so I'm just giving you the brief idea, then we shall discuss one by one. So this is called, what is research? You know what is research. Then what is research methodology? It is a broader concept, it is a wider concept which constitutes the mm, theoretical knowledge or theoretical perspectives, tools of data collection, technique of data collection, methods of data analysis. So all these things comprises of your research methodology. Then comes your basic approaches of research. What are the basic approaches? So far as data, research data are concerned, then it may be of your suppose quantitative data. Quantitative data. What do you mean by quantitative data? What do you mean by quantitative data? Quantitative means it generates data in quantitative term or in numerical figures like 15, 20. So how much mark you have scored in your examination? You can say 70. So what is your height? What is your weight? Then you can express it in quantitative terms, in numerical figures. That is called quantitative. But there are certain features, there are certain things, there are certain qualities which cannot be expressed in quantitative terms. Suppose the qualities, the intelligence, the knowledge, your character, your behavior. There are so many qualitative aspects of a person or anything what you cannot express in numerical terms, in quantitative terms. So in order to ascertain the grade, then you have to take the help of different methods, different scales, say scale, with the help of which you can find out the quality. That is a subjective assessment. You cannot know that. Suppose I will ask you, suppose you feel happy. Suppose I will ask you how much happy you are. Can you tell me that I am happy, 60 happy, 70 happy, 80 happy? You cannot like that. You may express in your non-quantitative terms. Yeah, I am very happy. I am not happy. This much you can say. You cannot say that like your Marshall utility analysis, you know, utility is a subjective concept which cannot be expressed in numerical terms. So likewise, there is subjective assessment of attitudes, opinion, behavior, which are tackled by the qualitative approach to research. So then I'm just giving you total the concept, the gist of this unit one by one. Then I shall discuss the page by page. I will go through this. Then I will discuss. Then you know what is research methodology, what are the approaches of research, what is quantitative, what is qualitative data, what is quantitative data, what is tools and techniques of data collection, methods of data analysis. You realize all these things. So next we shall discuss research process. What is research process? So what is the procedure? What is the process? How can you undertake research? So research process actually involves 7 steps. There are 7 steps of research process. So first of all, what you have to do when you are going, suppose let us say you are going to take up a research work. Then first of all, you have to identify what you are going to do, suppose. Then first of all, you have to identify the research problem. Suppose you are going to study the poverty or the unemployment problem or the anything else, you may take any problem, then you have to first of all identify the problem, what you are going to study. What is the problem first of all? What is the problem, what you are going to study or what you are taking up in your research work? That is first of all identification of research problem. Suppose poverty and unemployment in a particular block or during that particular period. You may take up a particular period, you may take up a particular area. So there are researches nowadays been on micro concept, micro research, what you are telling, micro research, macro research. Macro research means when you are taking up research work, taking a broader area. Macro, suppose you take the case of your country, a state, but also research is being done in a village panchayat also. In a particular village also you can take up a research work. That is called micro research. So first of all, you have to identify the research problem. What is the problem of research? What you are going to study. That means what you are going to study. Then second is review of literature. So you must have to gather some idea or information regarding that particular problem or regarding that particular study before going further. Because suppose you are taking the case of poverty or unemployment. Definitely so many literatures are available on that particular topic or subject earlier. Or earlier some researchers must have given some uh, light to that particular problem. So in order to study this, definitely you have to go through the literatures which are available. And before going to do the research work, you have to study, go through that literature which are available. It may be in the government level, it may be in the private level, or it may be available in institutions. So some persons must have done some work on that particular problem earlier, which you are going to do now. So you have to be very particular about that. You have to go through that research, what they have done and what you are going to do. And definitely that literature will help you. Different writers must have given thrown light on that particular subject. They must have done something, and which aspects are being left by them, then you may focus on that particular area or problem. That is review of literature. Then objectives. Objectives, you know, objectives, what is the meaning of objectives? So what are the objectives of study? What you are going to study, what you are going to find out, what is the objective of your research work? Without any objective you cannot reach your conclusion, you cannot be able to reach your uh, final stage. Then formulating the hypothesis. So hypothesis, what do you mean by hypothesis? Hypothesis actually is a tentative explanation of any event or phenomenon in the external world. It's a tentative explanation. In any research work, then you have to give some hypothesis. That is tentative, and ultimately, finally, after finishing your research work, you have to prove that hypothesis. The hypothesis or the tentative explanation which you have taken from the beginning of your research work ought to be proved at the last, at the end of your research work, that the hypotheses are proved. Then only your research will be successful. That is, sorry, hypothesis is a tentative explanation. Suppose the relationship, suppose I will say that the so you may take the hypothesis, the more the people are educated, the less will be the level of poverty. Suppose this type of hypothesis you take, the more the people are educated, the less will be the level of poverty in the society. Suppose you take this hypothesis. So on this basis, you have to study, you have to go for research work. And finally, after explaining, analyzing your data, you have to show how this hypothesis is proved. Then you have to show. So on this particular area, so education, people are educated up to graduation level, or in this area people are educated to the matriculation, and in this particular area people are educated up to primary school. So this is the income level of the people in this area. In this area, then finally you are going to show that the people, those who are having higher education, are living a better life, or than the people those who are having lower education. So this is the hypothesis, and this is your tentative explanation. Then this hypothesis has to be proved in the last. Then finalizing research design. In everything there is a design. Without any design you cannot do anything. So you have to finalize what type of research design you have to follow. There are different types of research design. So you have to find out what type of research design you have to follow. Then next comes your collection of data. What is your collection of data? How can you collect data? Data I have already told you maybe of two types. One is primary data, other is secondary data. Secondary data means the data which have already been collected, either it is published or in the unpublished form, but that have been collected earlier by some agency or the government or any researcher, by anybody else, that is available. Might be in the published form or in the unpublished form. ତେଣୁ ସେଇଟା ଥାଇପାରେ. If it is in unpublished form, then you can also take the help of those data. That is called secondary data, because you are not going to collect data directly from the person concerned. Data have already been collected and also published in any newspaper, magazine, or anywhere else. Then analyzing data. What do you mean by analyzing data? Data analysis, collection data. If you collect data, then you will get nothing. You will only get the raw materials. Then you have to process it. You have to analyze it. What actually the data gives you the information or the knowledge or the idea. Then you have to analyze the data. So after analyzing the data, then you will be able to write a report on that. Data analysis will help you to arrive at certain conclusion that actually this happens. My research work is this, so actually I have got it after collecting data, after analyzing, this is my finding. Then you will be able to write a report. So data can be of three types: time series, cross section, panel data. We'll discuss it one by one here. Then also variable, you know, you must have known what is variable. Variable means which is subject to change, which does not remain constant. One is independent and other is variable. So this is actually all about the fundamentals of your research methodology, or what is research, why it is important, how can you collect data, what is the methodology you can use, how can you collect data, what are the criteria you can use, how can you analyze data, what are the methodology you can use, how can you collect data, what are the
Hello, sir.
ସାର୍ଙ୍କର କଲ୍ ଆସିଥିଲା ବୋଧେ ଲାଗୁଛି, ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ କି ଲେଟ୍ ହେଇଗଲି। हेलो
हाँ
एग्जाम पे फॉर्म अप्लाई कलेनी
हाँ
छोटा पेपर पूरा
नहीं 3टा पेपर पे
और जो फर्स्ट सेमिस्टर 3टा पेपर अछि से 3टा तो
नहीं नहीं फास्ट सेमिस्टर में गोटे सेकंड रो 2टा
सार आछंती
Hello. Hello.
यस सर
Yes, sir.
yes sir
Am I audible to you?
Yes, sir.
यस
yes sir
सर
There is some problem in internet.
okay sir.
So Okay, 1 minute. Okay, so let me start. So I have given you the preliminary idea about research methodology and the conceptual foundation. So what actually in this particular unit, and what is research, what is research methodology, and what is primary data, what is secondary data, what is the technique of data collection. And am I audible to you? Hello?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes, sir. Yes.
yes. Actually, there was some problem in the internet, so I could not be able to be in touch with you. So I think this is not on your screen, this particular unit. So I am telling you. The first of all, your unit one, that is 1.1. That is your introduction. Introduction I have given you. So you have to write it theoretically. What is the importance or what is the role of research in modern economy, or how does it help in different fields in the society, in business, in industry, how it occupies special significance in analyzing the problems of business and industry. So in every sphere, not only in business, not only in industry, in also social sphere also, there is the need of research, because research helps in human progress. Research helps the process of development in the economy. So this is your 1.1. 1.2 is about the research methodology and its constituents. I have already told you that the research methodology is a broader concept which consists of three things: theoretical knowledge, theoretical perspective, then tools and techniques of data collection, then methods of data analysis. So these three constitutes the research methodology. Then what is research method? Research method comprises of research techniques and tools. So research methodology is a broader concept in comparison to research method. Please remember, research methods only comprise of research technique and tools, but research methodology, besides these two things, it also comprises of theoretical knowledge or theoretical perspective and your methods of data analysis. So this is your 1.2. So you can go through it, and I think you will find no uh, difficulty in going through this particular unit. Then theoretical perspectives. Then what do you mean by theoretical perspectives? Actually, theoretical perspectives refers to your knowledge which lies within the domain of philosophy of social science. It is associated with the perspectives of paradigm. So what is paradigm? First you have to know. Paradigm actually is a framework, is a belief system which will guide you for research and practice. So you have to follow certain guidelines, and and this paradigm. So you have to remain within this paradigm. This is a belief system. What you are going to do in the research work, what you should do, and what will be the framework with the research. So you have to remain within this framework, within this boundary line, within this belief system. You cannot go beyond that. Then the exact number of world views that and the names associated with a particular paradigm vary from another author to another author, but four paradigms. So different authors, they have given different types of paradigm, different types of belief system, different types of framework or guidelines. So what are these paradigms? Let us discuss. One is positivism and post-positivism. Second is critical theory. Third is interpretivism. Fourth is pragmatism.
So sorry to interrupt you. What is paradigm, sir?
What?
What is paradigm?
A paradigm actually is a belief system or the framework within which you have to do your research work. It is a comprehensive belief system. What you think, what you want to do, and what will be the framework. You cannot go recklessly beyond a certain point. So that is a system, that is a guideline, that is a, you can say that is a belief system within which you have to remain.
So I can say, sir, that these are some boundaries, so we cannot go out of it. Within the boundary, we do research. It's called a paradigm.
Yes. So paradigm, different authors, they have given different types of paradigm. So some authors have given four types of paradigm. Some authors have given three types of paradigm. That so the peculiar features of the paradigm are they differ on the question of reality. They offer different reasons or purposes for doing research. So particular, they say that why you will do this. Some authors say that why you will not do that. Some authors say that you have to do that. So different framework which I have told you or the belief system which you told you, that is not
Sir,
accepted by all. So different authors, they
sir,
have got.
sorry to interrupt you. Sir, could you give examples so we can understand better rather than giving the points?
Actually, the different authors, they actually use different types of tools of data collection. They take different sources of information available. So definitely the paradigm will change. So the paradigm means you have to remain within certain belief system, you have to remain within the framework, which will help you to conduct your research work, which will guide you. But this paradigm actually, they differ on the question of reality actually, that are some other reasons or purposes for doing research work. So accordingly, the paradigm will change. Your purpose is something different. Your reasons for doing research are different. Your data collection or the method of collection will be different. Then the paradigm will also different. So different economists, different authors, they have given different types of paradigms. Second is realism, constructivism, pragmatism. Realism, what is means realism is a real world that is external to the experience of a particular person. What remains outside your experience, that is quite external to the person concerned who is undertaking this work. Second is constructivism begins by assuming that everyone has unique experience and beliefs. And this is the assumption. Constructivism is based on purely assumption. Now it is assumed that everybody has a unique experience and beliefs. There is no difference in experience and beliefs of the people. And third is your pragmatism. Pragmatism actually considers realism and constructivism. Realism is something which is external to the experience of a particular person. Constructivism is based on the assumption that everybody is having the same experience. So pragmatism is a unique mixture of this constructivism and realism. That means there are certain things which are external to the person experience of a particular person, and also they assume that everybody is having the same type of experience. Then comes your research methodology, issues and perspectives. I have already told you the research problem, the research question to investigate the problem. First of all, you have to know what is a research problem. Research problem means after finding out, unless why you will do any research work, unless you know the problem, what you are going to study, what is your problem. And in order to solve it, in order to find out certain solution, then you are undertaking this research work. Then the research question, you have to investigate this problem. You have to form certain questions, questionnaire. Normally, in case of primary data, when you are going to collect data from different persons, that means first-hand information you want to get. So you have to form questionnaire. Questionnaire means a set of questions which will be asked in order to get some information regarding the problem. Suppose take for examples, you want to study, suppose the census, population census, which is being taken up in every 10 years. So in order to population census, so they move from door to door also. This is called primary data. Then they have to ask certain questions regarding the family members, the age and the sex, and also their income, everything. They ask this type of questions. So they have to frame this type of questions in order to investigate that particular problem. Then the research strategies to answer these questions. Sometimes also what are strategies you have to follow. Sometimes also while framing questions, if you directly ask questions, there are certain sensitive questions, sensitive issues. If you ask directly to the concerned, they may not be interested to give you the answer, or they will never expose themselves. So you have to follow certain strategy and techniques. You have to frame some indirect question in order to get that particular information. Suppose if you directly, there are some people, if you ask them the what is your income per month, then I think very few persons, they will tell exactly their income, actual income which they earn. Even in case of girls or women also, if you ask their age, definitely they will be reluctant to say actually what is the age. So sometimes primary data or primary information may not be true, still then it is a better method in order to get information because it is collected from the person concerned directly, not from any other secondary source. Second, fourth is the approaches to social inquiry that accompany this strategy. Then the concept and theory that direct the investigation, the sources, forms, and types of data, the methods for collecting and analyzing the data to answer these questions. So after the collection of data, then you have to analyze the data and you will get some result. Then approaches to social inquiry. I have already told you approaches to social inquiry. Broadly, there are two types of approaches in conducting research in social science. One is your quantitative and other is your qualitative. So what is qualitative and what is quantitative? The study is conducted within the perspective, means within the framework of positivism, post-positivism, realism. Generally research the quantitative approach and are termed as quantitative research. The framework I have already told you: positivism, post-positivism, realism. Three things I have told you. So these are the framework within which you have to conduct research work by taking quantitative, or this is called quantitative research. Quantitative research integrates purposes and procedures that are deductive, objective, and generalized. On the other hand, the studies conducted within the perspective of critical theory and interpretivism paradigms are termed as qualitative. Interpretivism paradigm, qualitative, means by using the induction as a research strategy, qualitative research creates the theory and discovery through flexible emergent research designs. It tries to evolve meaning and interpretation based on closer contacts between researchers and the people they study. Quantitative research Quantitative research consists of purposes and procedures that integrate inductive, subjective, contextual approaches. I will tell you what is inductive and what is your deductive. So quantitative approach can be further subclassified into inferential approach, experimental approach, and simulation approach. What is inferential approach? Database is established through survey method. In inferential approach, through survey method, database is established and inference is drawn. You have to collect data, or you will have the database, and from that database, then inference will be, or the conclusion will be drawn about the characteristics of or relationship of variables. Then experimental approach. In experimental approach, greater control is exercised over research environment. Experimental approach, take for example in science also, when you are doing experiment inside the laboratory, then some variables are manipulated. You can add more particular chemical, and also you can reduce the another chemical, then finally you can get what is the result. By manipulating the chemicals or by manipulating the variables, then you can draw inference, you can draw conclusion. That is called experimental approach. So inferential approach is survey method. Survey method means you have to study. You have to study the, you will have the study, or you will have the survey. You will have to undertake research, and you will have a broad area, and you have to conduct survey. But experimental survey means within a limited or sphere, and you have to manipulate the variables and you will conduct the research work. That is called experimental. Simulation approach refers to the operation of numerical model that represent the structure of a dynamic process. It involves the construction of an artificial environment in which relevant information data can be generated. Given the values of initial condition, parameters, exogenous variables, a simulation is run to represent the behavior of the process over time. That means in this method or in this type of approach, there is relevant information has to be put into different type of strategy, and what is the result that is generated, that you have to do with the help of your simulation approach. Then qualitative approach deals with the subjective assessment. I have told you attitudes, opinions, behavior of respondents. Remember all these three. Quantitative approach is having three types. One is inferential, second is experimental, third is the simulation approach. Inferential approach, inference is drawn from the survey method by surveying the different variables and you can get input. Experimental approach is a research environment which is under your control. You can manipulate, can change the variable and observe the changes or you can find the result. Simulation approach, you may take the environment and the relevant information data can be generated different types of by over and over different types of situations are being created and you have to put in the data, then you will get different types of result. So qualitative approach is here about assessment of attitudes, opinions, and behavior of respondents in the field. Various techniques like group discussion, projective technique, in-depth interview, etc. are used. In case of what is the performance of a candidate? So what is the standard of a student? Or the intelligence of a student, the attitude of a student. So these are all qualitative aspect of a person. So these cannot be measured in numerical terms or quantitative terms or numerical figures. This has to be studied by taking help of different methods, such as you have to conduct a group discussion. Then you will ask questions, or you can see that actually the the knowledge of the student, the fluency, the language, and everything you can judge in a group discussion of the students, and you can draw an inference or the conclusion. What is the or what type of student he is, whether he is a brilliant student or he is a dull student, or you can draw the inference. But in case of your interview also, and also in the examination also, in order to know the standard intelligence of a student, you are being examined, your knowledge, your intelligence, and then everything is being judged through exam. Exam means written, viva, so many things are there in order to study the qualitative aspect of a person. Then typical characteristic of qualitative and quantitative approach. Qualitative, typical data collection method. Quantitative approach, laboratory observation, questionnaire schedule. Qualitative approach, participant observation, semi-structured interview, group discussion. Then qualitative approach, open loosely specified question, possible answers. Quantitative approach, closed questions, hypothesis, answer. Selection of respondents, information maximization guides the selection of respondent. Every respondent may be unique, key person in case of qualitative approach. Quantitative approach, representatives as proportion of population and random sample selection, sample size according to assumption about distribution in population N. Then parallel with data collection, then after data collection. Then your quantitative approach, you can find out the result at the time after the data is being collected. But in qualitative approach means simultaneously when you are asking question to a particular student also, now you are able to know from his answer actually what is his standard. At the time of interview also you are able to know his standard. That is called parallel with data collection. At the same time, when you are collecting data means asking question to know his knowledge or intelligence, at the same time you are able to judge him. But quantitative approach something else. After collection of data and also verifying, analyzing, then we'll know what is the result, what is the outcome. Then research strategies. 4 basic strategies can be adopted in social research depending upon the researcher's belief, reliance on perspective, paradigm about the nature of reality. Paradigm on positivism, post-positivism or realism, critical realism, interpretivism. Paradigm research strategy means in case of positivism, research strategy is induction. Post-positivism and realism means deduction. Then critical analysis, critical realism, retroduction. Then interpretivism, abduction. Each strategy has different starting points. The inductive strategy begins with collection of data from which generalization is made and can be used as an elementary explanation. Induction or inductive means collection of data. You will collect your data and from that you can draw conclusion, general conclusion you can draw from data. Suppose in a class of students of 70 students, you can suppose you collect data, then you collect the what marks they have secured in English. And suppose somebody 30, somebody 20, somebody 10, somebody 50, somebody 16. From that also you will get inference, and then after that you can say that the standard of the students in English of this class is poor or is very good. Then you can, if more students have secured more than 70%, then your inference. So you are generalizing by collecting, after collecting the data individually from the students, then you can draw the conclusion from individual to generalization. From that is called your induction. So what is deduction? The deductive strategy is just the opposite. Starts out with a theory that provides a possible answer. From theory you are drawing conclusion. This is the theory and that is applicable to this. This is from single to general and this is from general to single. Then the retroductive strategy starts out with a hypothetical model of mechanism that could explain the occurrence of phenomena under investigation. In this actually, this is hypothetical. What is hypothesis? I have already told you. Hypothetical models means your tentative knowledge about a particular work. This strategy, you can give a tentative result, tentative idea of the mechanism that will explain the phenomena under investigation. You cannot come to the conclusion, and this one gives the, after collection of data, single to you can give a general theory, you can give a general idea. So this is a theory, general theory has been given, then you can apply it to individual, to somebody else. Here there is no such specification. You have to take your hypothetical idea or model of mechanism. Then abductive strategy starts with laying the concept and meanings that are contained in social quarters account of activity related to a research problem. The abductive starts with laying the concept and meanings in social quarters. That means what happens in the society, basing on the occurrence, basing on the strategy of the society, then you will draw the inference. Not by taking data from the mass and taking conclusion, not from single, but actually what is happening in the society in different quarters. Then from that you can draw the inference, that is called your abductive strategy. Then come to the research process. I have told you, first of all, defining research problem, second, objectives research, then a review of literature, formulation of hypothesis, research design, collection of data, source, tools and methods, analysis of data, report writing. Then research problem, I have told you what is research. Defining a research problem, you have to select, there are so many problems in the society, or you have to choose a particular problem, or you have to select. The problem to be investigated must be defined categorically, the general area of interest or a particular aspect, whether you are going interested for a micro research, means the area for a particular area, or you are undertaking a macro research, suppose nationally, India export, and suppose the unemployment problem in India, then whether you're going to so many states, or you are going taking a particular block. So different type of research can also be undertaken, and also you have to find out your problem. Then understanding the problem thoroughly, you have to find out the rationale behind the research problem. What is, you must have to, why you, suppose anywhere, if you are undertaking a research work, somebody will ask you, what is the justification of studying, why are you interested for this type of research? So you must have to, it must have some rationality. Suppose, take for example, suppose there is the price is increasing day by day, or you are coming across different type of social problems. Suppose the increasing crimes in the society nowadays. Suppose so there must have been certain justification. Why are you interested for this type of problem, for this type of research? So if the research is not having any common interest or public interest, or it is having no such meaning, or it is not so important, so I think there is no justification in conducting this type of research work. Then the different steps to be followed while defining the research problem, therefore, statement of the problem first in general way, understanding the nature of the problem, surveying the available literature. Then technical terms and words or phrases which you have to use. Then a clear and unambiguous statement of the investigation should be provided, the time period required. So there are certain guidelines or points which you have to follow, different steps. Then the problem should be clearly defined. The nature of the problem should be clearly defined. And also you have to survey the available literature. Then the technical terms or words should not be ambiguous. It should be clearly explained, clearly defined. Then the time period required and the scope of the study must be duly stated. You have to clearly mention the time period of your study and the sources of data and the limitations. Everything, everywhere there are limitations, and you have to collect data, whether you are going for secondary data or primary data doesn't matter, but you have to clearly explain the limitations while collection of data. There are, take for example, when you are going to collect data primarily or going for first-hand information, so there are also possibility that people may not be interested to cooperate with you by providing a clear picture or clear answer of your question. They may hide some facts. It is but natural, because in India, it's very natural. People are not so educated. They may ask you so many questions. What is your interest? What is that to you? If we earn more or less, or if you are having 7 members in our family or 5 members, what is that to you? So many questions they may ask you. If you really go and collect data from the people rural area, especially in India, you can see they will ask this type of questions. And sometimes also they may ask you questions. Suppose they will, first of all, they will ask you what is the purpose of your collection of data. And if they find that you are from the government office, or you are suppose, if they are supposed to get some benefit from the government, if they will tell the more family members, then definitely if they are having 3, even they will say 7. I am having 7 family members. Suppose accordingly they may change their view, and sometimes they may not cooperate also. What is that to you? This time, because people are not so educated, they do not understand the meaning of research, and they may hide some facts. So these are the limitations of research while collecting data. So you have to clearly mention that if you face this type of problem in while collecting data, then you may clearly mention there. Second is a review of literature. Review of literature means to gain insight on the topic and gain a knowledge on the availability of your data and other materials on the theme of proposed area of research. Suppose we are going to undertake a study on the agricultural production in Odisha. Then definitely in that case, what we'll do actually, you have to go through the literature. What work already, suppose you can find out unless you will study the literature thoroughly, unless you are conversant with the particular problem, then definitely it may become difficult in your part to go forward. So first of all, you have to see what work has been done on the agricultural production in Odisha. Then from that literature, you will get some idea about that. And second, Review of literature may be classified two types: literature relating to concept and theory. Second is empirical literature consisting of findings in quantitative terms. There are certain theories on agriculture also, you may get it from literature. Second thing, also the quantitative terms, there are some findings. Those who have taken data also in order to study the agriculture production in different years, wheat production, rice production, and in different time period also. From these also you can have an idea about the agriculture production. So the theories that will give you some insight into the problem on agriculture, and second is the quantitative analysis of the data which have been done by the researchers or any government agencies. This will help in framing research questions to be investigated. That will of a lot of help to you. So you may take help of the academic journals, conference proceedings, government report, books. These are the main sources of literature. With the spread of IT, one can access a large volume of literature through internet. Actually, previously what was when there was no such scope or facilities of IT or internet or your computer, laptop, also your so people they have to go to different libraries to collect information. If they have to collect secondary data, because a good library is necessary for conducting research work. But nowadays, at your laptop, you can get everything, the entire data of the world. Whatever you want, you can get at your fingertips nowadays. But when we were doing research some 30 years back, 40 years back, then at that time there was no such facility. So we have to move from library to library, because in Odisha you do not find a sophisticated library which will provide sort of information, or you will get literature in any problem. So we have to move from library to Delhi to Bombay to Ahmedabad, Calcutta, so many libraries we have. And after that, collecting data or information, literature, then you will have some idea and you will go forward to do your research work. But nowadays it has become very easy, because due to the spread of IT and due to the so many facilities. Then second is formulation of hypothesis. I have given a simple hints. Hypothesis actually is a tentative statement made which needs to be tested for its
So, sir,
logical and empirical
sorry to interrupt
confirmation.
you. Sir, basically the research are collected and published so that everyone can see what are the results in library.
Second, formulation of hypothesis. Okay. Uh, hmm. Formulation of hypothesis. Do you want to know?
No, sir. I said the research are conducted are
Yes.
generally kept by the kept in the library, so everyone can access it and see it. What are the results and what are the researches, sir?
Actually, the research, suppose take for example from different library, you can get literature also, and you can also get Reserve Bank bulletin also, and also different types of those are actually open to all. Then you can get all these things. Those are kept by the government, or that is not actually ought to be exposed, so you may not get that type of. So research nowadays you can get it at your fingertip, because everywhere it is available. And there are some in library, now you need not go to any library, because you can get everything at your home. So those days we had to go to library because there was no such facility. And there are also government agencies, and you can go to IIFT. And suppose you are doing research on international trade, you can go to Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, and you can get some literature and some figures or so, facts, so many things you can get. So then formulation of hypothesis, I have told you, actually hypothesis is a very important part of your research work. Hypothesis means is a tentative statement made which needs to be tested for its logical and empirical confirmation. That means, suppose first of all you have to write the problem of your research work. Then you have to write your objectives of research work, what you are going to do. Then you are going to a hypothesis. Hypothesis means what you want to prove. What now it is not being proved. After the end of your collection of data analysis, then you will be able to show. So before that, you have to take a tentative statement. Tentative lines which actually show that you will hypothesis can be formulated as a proposition or set of proposition providing most probable explanation for occurrence of some event or specified phenomenon. What I have told you earlier, that suppose I have told you the higher the education, the lower will be the level of poverty. The lower is the education, higher will be the level of poverty. If you conduct a study and if you write your hypothesis is like this: lower the level of education, higher will be the level of poverty. Higher the level of education, lower will be the level of poverty. Because you have to show that if the people are educated, there is a sufficient scope to earn income and they can maintain a better standard of living. If the people are uneducated or less educated, definitely there is least scope for them to earn a higher income and maintain a better life. So in order to show this, you have to take the information, collect data from some of the people, those who are highly educated, from some of the people, those who are less educated or uneducated. And after that, after analyzing the data, after tabulating data, analyzing data, then we will come to the conference and inference that the higher educated people are able to maintain higher economic status than the lower educated people. Then you will be able to say that my hypothesis is proved. That means what tentative idea, what tentative knowledge you are given earlier during the starting of your research work, now you are able to prove. That means your research work is complete. Then you can easily write a report on that. Then the research design is the logical conceptual structure within which research is conducted. It is the blueprint for the collection, measurement and analysis of data. It is just a design means empty after suppose take for example before construction of your any building or any project, you have to take the blueprint. Exactly research design is like that. Before undertaking your research work, you have to take a blueprint of the research regarding the collection of data, measurement of data and your analysis of data. Then collection of data is an essential part of the research process. I have already told you data can be of two types, primary and secondary. Data collected by the researcher, say by a survey, is primary. The data already collected by some agency and available in some published form is secondary. Research bank, suppose you are referring the Reserve Bank bulletin, then it's a secondary data. Suppose if you are going to the block to suppose you are going to the block to collect some data, it has already been collected and kept in the office, block office. So that it is very natural that these data are secondary data are those data which have already been collected by somebody else, either by any researcher or any private body or by any government agencies. But primary data is the data which are being collected for the first time, or you can say it as your first hand information. So whereas if you compare between these two types of data, both have got its merits and demerits, but primary data are supposed to be more correct, are supposed to be more are supposed to be better than your secondary data, because the possibility of manipulation is less in secondary data. Whatever have been collected, you do not know what methods have been taken by those agencies in the time of collection of data. But primary data, it is not possible because it involves a lot of expenditure. And if you are undertaking a study over a wide area, then definitely is it possible for you to go and contact each and every person or individual or household to collect data? And it will be expensive. Second thing is that it will take a lot of time. So therefore, census, when population census, definitely why it is taken for 10 years, because there is a lot of things from the, because you have to cover a very wide area. So it will take 8 to 10 years definitely to collect such data if you have to give it in proper form. Then census and survey observation method, primary data can also be collected by means of experiment and under certain conditions. Intensive fieldwork methods include observation, interview, case study, etc. Analysis of data. Analysis involves steps like categorization, coding, tabulation. So after collection of data, some of the data should be analyzed. Unless you analyze data, then definitely it is having no meaning. When coding involves grouping of responses falling under a particular, you have to code. That's how these people respond in the similar manner. Then you can give it a given code. You can give it a code. Tabulation is a means of organizing the responses to facilitate comparison, bringing up the inherent relation between two or more variables. It is an orderly arrangement of data in columns and rows. You must have seen the table. There is a row and there is a column also. So under column, suppose you have to educate, suppose take for example, in a particular area, suppose you want to know the income of the people. So you can give the income of the people, how many people are income within 5,000 to 10,000 per month. How many people are having 10,000 to 20,000? How many people are having 20,000, 30,000? And if you give it on, then definitely you have to take the both the side. One is column and one is row. And then you can analyze also. Then inference can be drawn. So analysis of data, you can see your page 14. Processing of data, preparing data for analysis, analysis of data, descriptive and causal analysis, inferential analysis, then editing, coding, classification, tabulation using percentage, then unidimensional and bivariate methods. Actually, there are calculation of several measures mostly concerning one variable. Measure of central tendency, you must have known, I think, your mean, median, mode, and your mean deviation, standard deviation, skewness, kurtosis, regression, all these are essential for your measurement of data or your calculation of your data. Then report writing. Report writing means originality and clarity are the two vital components of research report. While writing report, you should be very careful, you should be very serious about that, because you have to maintain originality and clarity. It is the ultimate test of one's analytical ability. If your analysis is correct and your communication skill is correct, definitely you will be able to give a proper, write a proper report. The research report needs to be presented in such a manner that the readers can grasp the context, methodology and findings easily. And there should not be any ambiguity in writing a report. It should be clearly defined. It should be elaborately explained so that a man with a common knowledge can easily go through it and have some idea about the research work. The report actually comprises of two parts. One is your preliminary pages and second is the main text. In preliminary page, you should indicate the title of the research study, name of the researcher, name of the institution, month and year of preparation of your report. This is your preliminary page. And or you can say it as a preface also. And in also main page, you have to write the introductory chapter, actually the methodology which you follow. The subsequent parts of the main text should be the major aspect of the study, So this should be the main text. The implication of the results of the study should be stated towards the end of the report. The implication may comprise of the inference drawn from the study, the conditions which may limit the extent of generalization, the question that remain. So actually the end of your, suppose the preliminary and the main text, initially you have to write the preliminary text and main text, then the implication of the study. And finally, you have to write the executive summary outlining the context and methodology and major findings of the study. Major findings of the study will be written at the end of the report. After giving the preliminary idea, the main text, and then you will summary, then you will write the executive summary. Then hypothesis. Then what is hypothesis? Hypothesis, I have already told you, are potential explanations that can account for our observations of the external world. The tentative explanation, they usually describe cause and effect relationship between a proposed mechanism or process and our, as I have told you, suppose income and suppose the income, employment, education and income, or education and employment, cause and effect. So tentatively you have mentioned, after collecting data, then we have to show that this hypothesis proved. And deductive approach, inductive approach, I have told you, deductive approach means while collecting data from the mass, you will give it a generalization from single to general, that is deductive, inductive, sorry, then deductive. Deductive means a theory to, suppose there is a general theory, you can apply it to others. So in qualitative research, hypothesis might be framed in terms of social setting having certain features which through observation can be confirmed or falsified. So in qualitative research means you are not be able to find out quantitative or numerical figures. So the hypothesis has to be framed in terms of your social setting, social atmosphere, or certain features or observations. Then the nature, sources and types of data. The data may be of three types: time series, cross section and pooled. What is time series data? It is a set of observation on the values that a variable takes at different times. A variable may change. Suppose you keep one factor independent, another factor is variable. So definitely the variable factor will always, such data may be collected at regular time intervals. Suppose prices go on changing, so that is a variable. Weather report, the temperature, the climatic condition, that is all variable. Weekly or monthly consumer price index, quarterly, these are the data which change from time to time. Then cross-section data are data for on one or more variables collected at the same point of time. For example, the data on the census population collected by the Register General of India. Then you are taking more than one variable, your income, your age, so many things you are taking at a time. Pool data, in pool data, the elements of both time series and cross section are plotted. For example, over a period of time, say from 2000 to 2013, we have data on saving, investment and GDP across Indian states. When you are taking so many variables at a time, they are clubbed together. At the same time, you are taking all these data. The sources of data, the data used in empirical analysis may be collected by a governmental agency, CSO, RBI, NSSO, Labor Bureau, and international agency, International Monetary Fund, or private organization. Such data is collected, secondary data, because these are collected from secondary sources. RBI, CSO data have already been collected. The data collected by investigator or the researcher directly through field work is termed as primary data. Such data is collected by using different tools. I have already told you, you have to frame questionnaire to ask questions to the person concerned, or you have to interview a particular person, then their primary data. Suppose take for example your news paper, the correspondent, reporters, news reporters actually they are interviewing a particular person and collecting data. This is called primary data. And the methods for collecting the primary data. The methods I have told you there are different. This is in your unit 7 of block 2. What are the methods of collecting? By direct asking questions, direct by sending questionnaire to a person. Suppose you need not go to the person concerned, you can send question by you have frame a questionnaire and send questions to the person concerned by post. And they will fill it up and they will give it back to you. But what guarantee is there they will give back to you? So there is no certainty that you can get back the answer from those people. So therefore, if you directly go and contact, then you can directly get questions. But it is not always possible if the area is very wide and it will take a lot of. So in every method of collection of primary data, there are merits and demerits. If you directly ask question to somebody else, they may not be reluctant to give some answer on the sensitive questions also. But in some while writing also, they may give it in writing, but they will never tell before you. And also there are then comes measurement scales of variables. Measurement is the process of observing and recording the observations that are collected. A variable can be measured at 4 levels: ratio scale, interval scale, ordinal scale, and nominal scale. A particular econometric statistical technique that may be suitable for ratio scale variables may not be suitable for nominal scale variables. It is therefore describable to know the distinction among the 4 types of measurement scales. One is nominal scale. Nominal scale, under the nominal scale, the data is recorded into categories without any order or structure. In other words, if against any question, statement, response is recorded simple yes or no. Nominal scale means, suppose there is a question and you have to give the answer either in the form of yes or no, nothing more than that. Then the scale will be nominal. So that type of scale is known as nominal. It has no order and there is no distance between yes and no. The statistical technique that can be used with nominal scale data are mode cross tabulation with chi-square. So then ordinal scale. In terms of power of measurement, ordinal scale comes next to nominal score. Recording ranks against various options choices is the simplest ordinal scale. So if you are asked by a researcher to rank 5 fruits from most favorable to at least favorable, he is essentially asking you to create an ordinal scale of preference. As you must have read in your ordinal analysis given by Hicks in indifference curve analysis, because why it was criticized, Hicks criticized Marshallian utility analysis, because according to Marshall, utility is quantifiable. Utility can be measured in quantitative terms, but Allen and Hicks in their indifference curve analysis, they say that utility cannot be measured in quantitative terms. So instead of measuring utility in numerical figures, then a person can show his preference over a bundle of commodities or over different commodities. So there are different 5 fruits are there. So suppose you have to give your preference. Suppose there is guava, there is apple, there is orange, there is your grapes, and there is also papaya. So there are suppose 5 types of fruits, and you may give your preferences. Suppose you give first preference to guava, second is to apple, third is. So this is called your ordinal scale. In ordinal scale, you are measuring, you are showing your preferences. You are not directly telling I will get 5 utility from this, 10 utility from this. You are saying that my first preference is this, second is this, third is this. You are showing your preferences. That means you are showing it on your ordinal scale. Then interval scale, in a situation when we not only talk about differences in order, but also differences in the degree of order. For example, if you are asked to rate our satisfaction with a piece of software on a 7-point scale, from dissatisfied to satisfied, we are using an interval scale. Interval scale means, suppose take for example, when you will be given to give a rating, suppose you are using your Ola and Uber also, they say that give me rating, then there are 5 stars are there. So from 5 stars, suppose you may give 2, you may give 3, you may give 4. Suppose in also any type of movie also, suppose in online your suppose you'll be given to rate a particular film out of 10 scale or out of 5 scale, then you can give your rating. So that is called interval scale. The ratio scale is the top level of measurement and satisfy the following properties. Measurement of each observation of a variable in numericals, and hence possible to work out the ratio of two observations. For a variable x, taking two values x1 and x2, the ratio will be x1 by x2. That is called a ratio scale. In ratio scale, you have to measure. Measurement of distance between two observations, x1 and x2. That means x2 minus x1. Indication of the natural ordering, ascending or descending of the elements of a variable. Therefore, comparison such as x2 less than greater than equal to x1 or x2 less than greater than equal to x1, which is greater, x2 is greater or x1 is greater. So you have to show your preferences. What is the distance between these two values of a variable, and whether it is greater or whether it is less, or what is the differential value of these two values of the variable. The statistical techniques used in interval scale can easily be used in ratio scale also. You will find elaborate discussion on measurement of scales. This is only enough for you, because so far as this unit is concerned, in block 2 unit 8 you will get a detailed analysis of that. Only fundamental ideas you have to acquire here, and the in detailed process you will get in block 2 unit 8 and unit 7. So far as the sources, nature, measurement, scale of variables, this is detail given in unit 7. Only the fundamental and the brief ideas are given here. So this is all about, if you sum up, then this you can say that is what is research, what is research methodology, what is quantitative approach, what is qualitative approach, what is the research process, and how 7 steps are there. I have told you research problem, review of literature, objectives, all these things. How a variable can be measured in 4 scales: ratio scale, interval scale, ordinal scale, nominal scale. What is hypothesis? How hypothesis, then what are the types of data, primary data, secondary data. So all these are the only fundamental ideas of your research method, research methodology, research process, and your approaches to social inquiry. So all these things are here in this particular unit. Then tell me, what is the second unit is your approaches to scientific knowledge, positivism and post-positivism. In this particular unit only, the details have been discussed in the second unit, positivism and post-positivism. Whatever we have discussed in this unit, that is any question? You please go through this unit, and next, so there are 5, we have got 6 classes, and each day we'll have 1 unit, we'll complete 1 unit, and we'll discuss any doubt or any question in the last class. And will you
Sir,
please go
please.
through this particular
Hello.
unit? Then you
Hello.
will be able to know
Sir.
what is the problem.
Sir.
Okay. Okay.
Sorry to interrupt you, but could you come up with some examples next class so we could interact more and understand more better?
Our example. Or you are not unable to follow me now?
No, sir. We just understand the points and that definitions and meanings, sir. We cannot come up with examples so we can write an exam in a better way.
Yes. Hi, examples I have given so far as your primary data, secondary data. You can give some examples. Suppose uh, the example wherever is required, then you have to give definitely, and it will be better if you, or it will better to if you can understand in a better manner with the help of examples, and also you can write also in the case of examples in primary data and secondary, because when you are talking of any research problem or any research work, then definitely you are talking of some variables, and you are first of all you are having certain problem, therefore you are undertaking the research work. Then what are the you can cite any, suppose take for example, if it is a social problem, or you are taking the problem of the society, which is a current problem in the society, employment, poverty, anything else, population, income, so many things, or any social crime or road accidents, you can take up any such problem in the, I know, suppose road accidents and the cyber crimes. Suppose in the day to day, in the modern days, what is happening, and you can take up any sort of
Sir,
problems, and accordingly you can
sir,
also write, giving some
sir, my
examples.
point is if you come along with the definition and example at the same time, we can understand the definition better rather than the definition and meaning.
Tell me particularly which actually you don't follow. You need some examples. Mm,
Like for take this as a quantitative and qualitative research, sir. If we come
yeah.
up with this, we should consider the definitions also along with the examples, so we can understand and write it better.
Yes, yes. How qualitative, and suppose take for example, in case of qualitative research and quantitative research. Quantitative and the data can be found in numerical terms and quantities also. Then definitely suppose how much the consumption of a wheat of a particular family. Suppose you can take 50 kg or 30 kg per month or like this. That is quantitative. But qualitative, when you are going to study the attitude, the character, the intelligence, the anything else of a person also, it's not possible to quantify these qualities of a person. Then you have to take different methods or ways to express it. So therefore you have to conduct certain interviews, or you have to conduct a group discussion, or you have to conduct any sort of written methods of your examination, like that, by putting some questions. Then from that you can get some idea. Suppose you are asking some questions to a students, means Suppose your intelligence accordingly, suppose you want to study the character of a person, then you will ask question on the basis of that particular quality. Then accordingly you will get answer and you will give some marks or like that. But actually, if you ask something, you can from the appearance of a person, or you cannot collect like that. Its character is 50, its character is 60. So, in order to know that particular quality or assess that particular quality of a person, you have to take up other methods or experiments or your group discussion. These are the ways or methods through which you can conduct qualitative research. But in quantitative research, suppose you say the age, so how many persons in the age group of 20 to 30 are in this particular village. Then you can easily calculate 1, 2, 3, 4 is in between 20 to 30, the 50 persons are there. In between 30 to 40, then from the data you can directly collect the information. But in this case, there is no such data available. You have to go through it by through different methods and you will get some idea. So this is the thing that you have to actually write accordingly. It will be better, I know. So you have to put in that particular frame the any sort of qualitative, quantitative, nominal scale. I have told you so
Yes,
far
sir.
as the scale is
I
concerned.
understand, sir. But if you come up with examples, so we can understand it better. So it will be help to write better.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay, next time we'll see.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Sir, every time the blocks are finished, we should discuss the questions. So we will do better in exam, sir.
Oh, okay, okay. Next time we'll do. So today there was actually some problem in the internet, so I could not be able to focus. So um,
Okay, sir.
after finishing blog, we shall discuss actually it in.
Yes, sir.
Okay, no problem. One last class is also there because it is up to 18 to 19 pages. So we have time, sufficient time. First 1 hour we'll have some discussion. Then I will tell you the contents of that particular unit and actually what it says. And the second we can discuss so that it will be better and you can get a better idea.
Okay, sir.
Okay. Okay. For today, this much.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Sir,
Okay. Tell me.
sir, what are the possible objectives of this unit?
What are the
Sir, possible long unit.
possible questions?
Yes, sir.
Possible long questions, I'll tell you actually. Actually, so far as this, so you have to, I think, you have to give this. Mm, mm, you will be given. So you have to answer these questions, na? Check your progress. You have to answer and submit. Now you have to submit the assignment, is not it?
Yes, sir. I submit the assignment of this.
Mm. Mm. The important questions I'll tell you.
Yes, sir.
I'll tell you the important questions tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll have only second unit and I will tell you the important questions and you continue and you will tell me also. You can ask me questions also from this tomorrow. Today you go through this particular unit and I was also student of IGNO 30 years back. I have completed my MBA from IGNO. So it's a very good platform.
Yes, sir.
So do you want that only? Only questions, long questions? What long questions can be framed from this particular unit or anything else? Tell me.
No, sir. Only I this long question.
So far as the long questions, I'll tell you what are the long questions and
Hello,
Sir,
okay.
before going
sir.
to the other units, we should discuss the units, important questions and topics so we could understand better rather than giving priority to everything.
Going to the other
We should consider the
important
important
question
first.
topic associated and understand better rather than a direct everything we should consider the in-person. Okay. Actually, giving priority to all the units is not actually important. So far as from your suppose if you want to the purpose is different. Suppose you want to gather knowledge only the start. If you want that your study should be examination oriented, then it will be something different. If your study is gaining knowledge or knowledge oriented, it will be something important. And if it is exam oriented, then I will discuss the important things which will come in the examination. I will discuss. I will leave only the silly things, silly points which are not actually required, and you need not face any such type of question. They are in your examination.
No, sir, I am telling we should summarize the whole thing so we could do better
Huh.
and cover up the parts
Yes,
because
yes,
we have
yes.
less time and much work to do.
Yes, yes. So, to summarizing the entire things is better. Then we should focus more on the topics, on the questions which are expected to come in the examination. That we shall do, and that will be better for you. And otherwise, spending time on the small things and omitting manner so that we may not be able to focus more on the important questions, important points. I will give a brief outline and summary, and then I will focus the important things which will come in your examination, and we will only focus on that. That will be better.
Yes, sir. So we can stick into that.
Okay. Okay, we'll do that from next time. Tomorrow. Tomorrow at 5 p.m.
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay, this much for today. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Good night, sir.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sorry, no.
Okay.